Arsene, I was travelling here today on the M25. Got into a traffic jam.
Good luck.
Yeah, absolutely. Traffic jam. I'm sitting there thinking I've got to go and interview Arsene Wenger. I don't want to be late. I started to panic, so I thought, what would Arsene Wenger do? So I put on Classic FM and I sat there and relaxed, and it was fantastic.
You see?
Did the job.
It's helpful, you know.
Is that something you still do?
Yes, I still do, and I must say I know as well, unlike you, some little roads where I can
Oh,
escape,
do you?
know.
Do you know your team now for Sunday's game against City?
Yes, you always know your team on Friday, at one or two exceptions, you know. You always one or two positions where you think, do I do this or do I do that? What is the advantage of this, what is the advantage of that? And but at some stage comes the point where you have to make a decision, even if you don't know. So personally, I think if I don't know on Friday night, I don't know on Saturday morning. So overall, I try to make early decisions.
And when do you share it with the players?
It's an interesting question what you tell me, because I asked about to have this debate with modern managers, the young managers as well, in Geneva. Most of them give the team out as late as possible in nowadays, because if you give it out early, it comes out very quickly. You face negative energy in the team sometimes because the players who are not involved, or the players who think they have a chance to play and don't play. On the other hand, I as well believe that when you're a player, you want to know, you want to prepare. Everybody has his own way to prepare for a game. So between the advantages and the disadvantages, you know, it's very difficult to decide. But the trend today is to give it out as late as possible. Personally, I like to let the players know that as early as I can.
If we are to believe the so-called experts, you know, City have already won the league, haven't they?
Why do you say the so-called experts?
You know.
They are experts,
No.
and you have to accept that the experts can be wrong as well. You know.
But if anybody is going to beat City, you know, and take on City, to go toe-to-toe with Manchester City, it's Arsenal at their best, isn't it?
I believe that we can beat them, yes, because if you look at the results, I have just come out from an interview who told me that we lost only one time in the last 9 games against City. So let's continue that. Maybe if I listen to the so-called experts, they're better than ever before. So that will be a bigger test for us, maybe even on Sunday. But I believe that we have needed quality. Do we perform at our best? Yes.
Do you expect it to be an open game? And is that the best way for Arsenal to beat City, if it is an open game?
What do you call an open game?
I don't expect you to try and contain City.
We have to try to contain them when they have the ball, because they are, as you said before, they are force going forward. If you look at the number of goals they've scored, it's quite impressive. If you look at their goal difference, it would be a bit suicidal not to be careful defensively. You know, we need, first of all, to produce a strong defensive performance as a team, and on top of that, that will not be enough. But it can be an open game in the sense that we will attack when we have the ball, or try to attack, but we'll not play with 7 strikers on Sunday.
No. Some managers say that they love the 90 minutes. Others say that they endure it. It's the worst part of the week for them. What's your take on it?
No, I would miss that. I think for me, football is a feast, you know. It's something that you want to enjoy, and that's something that you wait for, what you expect, and something where something special can happen. You work the whole week for that, and the next game is fantastic. It's absolutely something you wait for. I personally would be bored without that.
If a result hasn't gone well,
that is the nightmare of the manager. You know, one thing that has not changed in my life is how badly I take defeat. I worked at 33 years of age, full responsible of a top league in France, and I suffered so much every game lost that I thought, I never get to 60, that's impossible in this job, you know, I will die before. So you find a therapy for yourself to survive, and this therapy for me is the next game.
Okay.
next time I get it right, you know.
So immediately that game, you're on to the next one, yeah?
No, because first it's bereavement, you know, it takes 48
Bereavement,
hours.
wow.
Yeah, of course, it takes 48 hours. And when I was a young coach, it took me, sometimes I remember we had a Christmas break, it took me 2 weeks where I didn't move out of my flat at all.
Really?
For 2 weeks after defeat that was heavy to take. I know it is, people don't imagine how much the managers suffer with defeats. When younger managers told me what kind of advice you give me when you start, I said, look, survive disappointment, find the resources to bounce back.
So on a Saturday night, if it's not gone well, you're probably not the best company.
No, I'm the worst company, but I know that, so I isolate myself. I always did that, you know. Yeah. I behave like a dog who is sick. I go to my nest and I think about what's happened, what's going on.
Lick your wounds.
I think we all have different opinions as managers, but every manager would agree with that.
Arsene, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Good luck Sunday.